Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It is of four names done in a classic, regular design for forearm, so it's linear. And that means that we have our first name of our first person and our second name of our first person, and then our first name of our second person and the second name of our second person here. So it's going to be Lexa, Dawn, Adeline, and Nova. And let's go ahead and read this script. You start reading at the bottom and you go counterclockwise, like a time traveler going back in time. And I have this little shape here to denote where the bottom is. This little shape is not necessary. You can choose to use it, you can choose not to use it, but it kind of helps with orientation, especially on a forearm, something that moves a lot. Is the bottom here, or is it here? Just depending on how you hold your arm, the bottom changes. But on a tattoo, I'm a little bit less worried about it because it's attached to somebody who probably knows where the design starts. So here we have our start marker, and our first letter of our first word, here's our first word, here's our first letter, has 1, 2, 3 dots with it. And if you look at the grid above me, you'll notice one of the columns, the one that has the letter D at the top of it, has 3 dots right above it. And then below it, there's the letter L. And we want the letter L. So you see how it's in the second row? To make it in the second row, we have to look at the 4 different letter stems. The top letter stem is a horseshoe shape, like this. So this one's, in fact, the letter D, because it's got 3 dots on a horseshoe, just like this one. A letter L is going to be a floating circle, so a circle that's fully inside our word circle with 3 dots. So there's the L. And then an E is centered, and then 1 and 2 lines on the X, and then the A outside the word circle. So that's Lexa. And then this next word, we start with the letter D, then an A outside our word circle, and then here's a little chunk taken out of our word circle. This little chunk, if we take a look at this like this, you see this blue line? This is our word circle. And there's a little bite taken out of it, like somebody took a bite out of a cookie. So that puts us in the 3rd row of the grid above me. And then this line here, I'm going to turn it purple. This purple line, that makes 2 lines that end on that letter. So one line ends here, and it ends again here. So that's 2 line modifiers. So that's a W. And then we have an N, a full circle with 1 line ending on it. This purple line passing through it doesn't count, because they count when they end on a letter. So there's a D, A, W, N. And some styles have the shallow divot letter stems directly overlap with our next word or sentence circle, and that's what I did here. So long as that divot is taken out of our letter, that makes it one of those divot stems. So this is just overlap like that. You can choose to have spaces in between the overlaps, like in this design, where here's an overlap here and there's a space here, overlap here, space here. I just did this to kind of help make it look more obviously for individual circles, as was requested. So that's what I did. And here we have this next word. We have an A outside our word circle, so it's going to start with the letter a D with 3 dots, A outside the word circle. Here's 3 dots on this full circle, so that's another L like that one. This circle crosses, so kind of like the X, except it has 2 dots, so that's a Y. And here's another N. This is the line on it, so full circle with 1 line. And it's important that this line, that I'm going to turn purple again, goes all the way through this and ends on this. Because if it were to end early, if it were to end like right here, then it would suddenly be the letter P with 2 lines in it. So this little section is important to have there. Okay, so A-D-A-L-Y-N is Adeline, and then our last name here, starting at the bottom, we have another N, a full circle with 1 line ending on it here. This one passing completely through doesn't count. Then our O inside our word circle. Then on this shallow divot, again similar to the other one, we have a shallow divot that is directly overlapping with our word. That's okay. And we have 1 line on it right there. And then there's our A at the end of this word. So there's our N-O-V-A. So that would be Lexa, Dawn, Adeline, Nova. And that is your design. I hope you like it. Thanks. Bye.